I don't know exactly when I became the fool in my own story, but I know the moment I realized it. It wasn't the day she left. It wasn't even the day I paid her first rent check. Just until she gets back on her feet. It was much later, when I stood outside that apartment, the one I'd been paying for, and watched the silhouette of a man move behind the curtains. A man who wasn't me, and hadn't been me for months. But let's rewind. Because no one starts out expecting to be betrayed by the person they once loved enough to break for. Her name was Jenna. She had this soft, sun-drenched laugh that made you forget time. Messy brown hair always falling into her eyes, like she couldn't be bothered to tame it. When we first met, she was renting a tiny studio above a laundromat. No heat. No AC. I still remember the first time I brought over Thai food, and she had to heat it up using a hair straightener because the microwave was broken. We laughed until the power went out entirely. That kind of girl. Messy, impulsive, alive. I fell hard. I wasn't rich, not even close, but I had structure. A stable job at a regional bank. Health insurance. Meal prepping on Sundays. Clean credit. I was the safe choice. And I thought safe was good. I thought safe meant forever. But safe just meant convenient to her. We were together almost 3 years. We lived in my place. I covered the rent, utilities, groceries, everything. She said she'd make it up to me once her art took off. She made earrings. Sold maybe 5 a month on Etsy. But I supported her because I believed in her. Or maybe I just wanted to believe I mattered enough for someone to grow for. Then came the breakup. It wasn't dramatic. No screaming, no cheating that I knew of. She just said, "I feel like I need space to become who I really am." And I, like a dumbass, nodded. Told her I respected that. I even helped her find a place. A little one-bedroom across town. Decent lighting. Ground floor. And when she told me she couldn't quite swing the deposit, I offered to cover it. "Just until you're back on your feet," I said. Her eyes got glassy. She hugged me like I was some kind of hero. And I felt good. Useful. Still wanted in some small way. That was month 1. Month 2, she said the gallery she was working with dropped her. Could I spot rent again? Month 3, her mom had surgery and she had to travel. "Just this once again," she texted. Of course. I zelled it within the hour. By month 4, it had become routine. I'd budget her rent into my monthly spreadsheet like it was Netflix or groceries. She never said thank you anymore. She just sent a 2 hearts emoji when the money came through. And somehow, that felt worse. My friend said I was being taken advantage of. That she was probably seeing someone else. But I didn't want to believe it. I thought, maybe this is just what kindness looks like after love. Then came the slip-up. One afternoon I was on a work call when a Venmo notification popped up on my laptop. It said, "Thanks for the weekend face blow and kiss," from some guy named Ty. And it wasn't sent to me. It was Jenna paying him. Now, I don't normally snoop. But that name, Ty, stuck. So I searched a bit. Found her Instagram. She had me blocked, but I made a burner. Nothing direct, just tagged pics with friends. One of them showed her at a picnic, sitting on a blanket beside a guy with neck tattoos and a backwards hat, arms around her waist, laughing into her ear. The caption said, "My safe place, Purple Heart." My safe place? Not. The guy paying my bills? Not. The fool footing the rent while I make out with a SoundCloud rapper in his socks. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Something in me had shifted. The part that loved her had been fading for months. But now, something else started growing in its place. Something colder, quieter, sharper. I started collecting receipts. All the transactions. Bank statements. Text threads. Even her messages about helping her mom, which I found out was a lie when her mom posted photos from a trip to Italy that same weekend. I waited, watched, tracked patterns. Every Friday, he'd show up. Every Sunday, he'd leave. She wasn't just seeing him. He was living there, living on my dime, eating the groceries I paid for, sleeping in sheets I bought her last Christmas, probably wearing my old hoodie I saw draped on the couch through the window. And that's when I knew. She didn't need space. She needed a sponsor. I didn't rage. I didn't yell. I didn't even cry. That's the part that scared me the most. How numb I felt. How easy it was to move from heartbreak to strategy. First thing I did was call the leasing office. I had co-signed on the lease. Stupid, I know. So I played the polite, concerned ex-boyfriend. I told them we'd officially separated and that I would no longer be involved financially. That if she missed rent next month, they should contact her directly. No forwarding address. No backup card. Nothing. They updated the file. I asked if there had been any issues with the apartment. Leaks, complaints, noise. The woman paused. Well, there were some late-night disturbances. We assumed it was temporary. She mentioned her partner was working nights. Her partner. Interesting word choice for a man who didn't pay a cent. Next, I called my bank. Stopped the automatic transfers. Then I opened a new account. Started routing my paycheck there, just in case she ever tried to access my info again. Then I dug a little deeper. I looked up Ty, her safe place. Turns out, he was a minor musician with a few thousand followers, mostly for making remixes of popular songs and posting shirtless selfies in front of LED lights. No job. No declared income. But his posts were full of studio vibes and grind don't stop. I scrolled through until I found a tagged story. Jenna filming him strumming on a guitar, shirtless, in the apartment living room I paid for. That was the final click in the puzzle. They weren't dating. They were playing house. And I was footing the mortgage on a delusion. That's when I stopped watching and started planning. The first domino I knocked over was the electricity bill. It was in my name. I called and requested cancellation effective the end of the week. Next, the internet. Gone. Then, I contacted a friend who works as a freelance property photographer. Told him I had a cheating ex situation and asked if he could get some daylight shots through the window next time they were out. Just enough to document who was living there. He agreed. What he sent me 2 days later made my blood turn to ice. In one frame, Ty was lying shirtless on the couch, eating cereal, laptop on his belly. In another, he was in the kitchen, wearing nothing but boxers and Jenna's fuzzy socks, dancing while cooking. In the last one, they were both visible, tangled on the couch in a way that made my stomach turn. Not because I still wanted her, but because this was what I'd paid for. Month after month. While I skipped my own vacations. While I downgraded my gym membership. While I told myself she just needed time. It was never time. It was just meantime, until someone more fun came along. I printed the photos. Compiled a neat little folder. Attached all the payment records, the Venmo screenshots, the bank transfers, the texts. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I needed a cleaner break. One with gravity. So I waited for the next first of the month. Sure enough, she texted that morning. Hey love, can you help with rent again? Been a rough week. Promise I'll pay you back next time, 2 hearts. I replied. Of course. Come by my place tonight. I'll have the check ready. She arrived that evening dressed like she was going on a casual date. Hair curled. Soft perfume. She even brought wine. I didn't pour a glass. I handed her the envelope. She smiled. Thanks, babe. I knew I could count on you. I watched her tuck it into her purse. Then I said, You should open it now, just to be sure I wrote the right amount. She hesitated, then slid the flap open. Inside weren't bills, just photos, screenshots, printouts. Receipts of her betrayal. The moment her eyes registered what she was holding, something in her cracked. Her mouth opened, maybe to lie, maybe to beg, but I held up a finger. No need. I'm not here to fight. I'm done. She tried to speak. I said I'm done? Her face twisted. What the hell is this? Some kind of revenge fantasy? I laughed. No. This is just math. I'm subtracting you from my life. She stormed out. I sat in silence. For the first time in months. It was quiet. That same night, I emailed the leasing office again and forwarded them the photo of Ty living there. I asked them to review the lease terms, especially the ones about unauthorized occupants. They did. Jenna was served with a notice a week later. Eviction in 30 days, or formal hearing. She tried to call. Texted me screenshots of her crying. Said she had nowhere to go. I never responded. She wasn't homeless. She still had her safe place. He could figure it out. Or he could pay rent for once. A month passed. I didn't hear from her again. But I kept an eye out. Ty's social media went oddly quiet. No more clips of studio grind. No dancing around shirtless. Just reposted memes, vague quotes, and one particularly delicious post that said, "Some people fake love just to stay rent-free." I almost screenshotted it. But nah. Let the irony marinate. A friend of mine, Dan, worked as a recruiter for a local marketing agency. One day over lunch, he mentioned they were onboarding a new assistant. Young, blonde, bit of a free spirit, but had a good-looking resume and solid references. I knew instantly. There aren't many Jennas with her last name and a communications degree from a community college. I leaned in. Can you do me a favor? Keep an eye on her. He raised an eyebrow. You know her? Intimately. Unfortunately. He laughed. Want me to tank her job offer? No. I want her to believe she made it. Just keep me posted. A week later, he texted me. She started today. Already late. Showed up with an iced coffee and told the manager she was recovering from a transformational weekend. Good luck to her. Another week later, she tried to expense a $200 vibe candle on her first team project. Denied. Her face was priceless. Third week, she flirted with the married project lead. Didn't go well. HR's watching her now. I never interfered. Didn't need to. Some people burn their own bridges without your help. Meanwhile, I moved on. Started dating again. Casually at first. Then I met someone unexpected, Mia. She worked in urban planning, had the driest wit I'd ever met, and a quiet way of seeing straight through people. One night, over dinner, I told her the whole story. From the co-signing to the final envelope. She didn't gasp. Didn't scold me for helping too long. She just nodded. People show you who they are when you stop giving them what they want. I think I fell in love with her right then. But back to Jenna. Dan called me one morning, not a text, a full-on phone call, laughing so hard I could barely understand him. Bro, she's on TikTok right now, crying about getting fired. I swear to God. I opened the app. Sure enough, there she was, tear-streaked, sitting in what looked like her car, sobbing into the camera. I just don't understand how people can be so fake. I was nothing but positive. I gave so much energy. And they just blindsided me. Thousands of comments. Some supportive, some skeptical. I didn't comment, didn't like, didn't even watch the whole thing. I closed the app, turned to Mia, and we both laughed. It wasn't the kind of cruel laugh. It was relief. Like watching the final credits roll after a horror film you didn't know you were living in. A few days later, I got a message on an old email I hadn't checked in months. From Jenna. No subject line. No greeting. Just this. I hope you're happy. You ruined my life. I never expected you of all people to be so cold. I read it once, then again, and I smiled. Because for the first time, she was right. I was cold. And it felt amazing. Now I live in a place she's never seen, with a woman who doesn't need saving. And every time I think about those months I paid for her apartment, I don't feel regret. I feel like I paid the price to never doubt myself again. She thought she could lie, use, and move on. But I finished the game and walked away without looking back.